Hello, fabulous friends and fans. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of October 26th, 2014. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. This week begins with Mars moving into the sign of Capricorn. This should be some really nice energy. It is very earthy energy, and even though Capricorn normally is associated with the corporate stuff, associated with work as well, there's that practical element to it, of course, and about having ambition, having goals, which I think is actually part of what is so special about being a human being, is that we can sort of formulate what we want, and that we believe that we deserve better, and we know that we can work on our own behalf to improve our circumstances. That really is, in my humble opinion, one of the best sacred lessons of Capricorn energy and of being a human being as well. And with Mars moving into this part of the sky, that becomes emphasized for us all. So it is very embodied. It is earth energy. So I keep emphasizing that because this is actually really good. There's a strong physicality to it, and it makes for, in its own way, and certainly in the weeks to come as Mars moves closer and closer to Pluto, will make for a very passionate atmosphere. You add to this the fact that early in the week, Venus and the Sun are going to be speaking in supreme harmony with Neptune. Supreme harmony with Neptune. And by the end of the week, Mars will be speaking in harmony with Neptune as well. This is so romantic. This is such a romantic vibe. Now, by the time these videos are up, the monthly horoscopes for November should be up as well. Thank you so much to all of you out there for your enthusiasm for those. And in that horoscope, I talk for some signs out there the fact that late in the month, or in the second part of the month, we are going to have a more challenging conversation between Venus and Neptune, and the new moon that is going to take place in the second part of the month, and Neptune as well. And so given that we know that's coming up, and given that we know that life is always sort of this series of ebbs and flows, and what we perceive as down, what we perceive as up, but there's a constant flux to life, a constant change, and all of it is moving us towards greater love and greater wisdom. Well, since we know that there's going to be this a bit more of a challenging conversation between these two planets a little bit later on, I do think that when we have such a romantic climate, you might as well enjoy it. Enjoy it to the hilt, really. You add to this the fact that we are also going to have this week Mercury, now direct in the sign of relationships, Libra, will have its final conversation with Jupiter. So these planets have been dancing in harmony since September, and this is the final of 3 conversations. And so I do think that this is going to represent one of those like defining moments of what this Mercury retrograde was about for a lot of us out there. Since the second part of September, we've been engaged in these different lessons. This is sort of some of those lessons really coming home, most likely through conversation. However, it does look like each of us in our own way are going to be inspired to think differently, to appreciate and to perceive what it is the universe has been trying to show us as a way to bring more positive energy into our lives as well. And this can just be a really hopeful conversation, or what this also can be is the random conversation that points the way to go, that points the direction we need to go. So the universe has been trying to get that message to us that in some way there is a direction we can go to create more positive energy for ourselves, whether that's practical positive energy in terms of improving our financial situation, or it is this more emotional prosperity that we can feel as well, emotional abundance as well. All of that is going to be highlighted with this move. But what's also happening is Venus is going to speak in harmony with Pluto as well. Now, this is just sexy, is what it comes down to. This is an energy that's very sensual, and we're going to be motivated to have love and to express it in a way that's very sensual as well. So lots of romance and wanting to be swept away this week. And at the same time, we've got a touch of passion and all of that. You add it together and it just adds up for a really great climate to plan something really romantic with somebody that you love, to allow yourself to be swept away, even if it's a spiritual kind of mystical being swept away. Really great time if you're a writer or an artist of any kind as well. I think about Venus and Neptune speaking, and the Sun and Neptune speaking as well is really great for artists of all kinds, wherever it involves sort of plugging into source and creating from that space. This is also about communion and the beauty of communion. So whether you experience that in the context of relationship, which is how a lot of us experience it, or in the context of creating, all of that is highlighted now. All of that is very blessed now. And overall, we are still building towards a full moon, but the full moon is actually pretty good, which is happening next week. I do think that overall this is a very good cosmic climate, especially considering last week we had the eclipse happening and I was interacting with you guys online, and it wasn't the easiest for a lot of us out there. There were some really heightened and intense emotions taking place. This week should help us make sense of it. This week should really help bring a lot of things together for us, help us feel really inspired by a lot of the things that took place for us last week. So what felt challenging, what felt difficult, what felt like it was very much on the surface, and especially in terms of our own insecurities, our own fears as well. Now comes faith, now comes inspiration, now comes connection to source and to meaning as well. I do want to also take this time now to say happy November to everybody out there as well. I do want to answer a viewer question by Javi. So Javi sent me a message and she said that she had had a reading done by somebody, and I hope it's okay I'm using her name. Normally I don't use names, but I told her I would respond to this in the weekly horoscope. But when I do personalized horoscopes, I really don't like to use people's names and things publicly anyways. If you look on the page where I show the personalized horoscopes, where you can learn more about them on my website, I have testimonials there, but they never have names on that particular page because I like having your confidence, and it means a lot to me as well. So what we have is Javi had a personalized horoscope from me, and this was a couple of months back, and she also had more recently, a reading done with an astrologer, and the two readings were very different. And so she contacted me and said, I'm really worried. I had this reading done and it sounded so horrible. It was so doomy gloomy and all this kind of stuff. And you know, my heart really went out to her, and this is a chart that I know as well, and especially because I had read her. And I often say in these personalized horoscopes, and in even the horoscopes that I do for you here, I often say, I'm always going to be honest with you, always. I do believe that everything is moving us towards greater love and greater wisdom. Even the stuff that's hard, even the stuff that's challenging. But there's a way to see the stuff that's challenging in a way that is part of moving you towards greater love and greater wisdom. And in my humble belief, if a reading doesn't do that, if a reading just leaves a person filled with fear, that's not very good. You can say the same thing and empower a person, or, you know, find different words to say the same thing, but not empower that person at all. Make that person even feel like a bit of a victim. And I think that that's really unfortunate. But ultimately, astrology is really, really big. Astrology is big. And you can't have astrology without the astrologer. I'm very fond of saying that as well. And ultimately, we are, as astrologers, interpreting symbols. So there are these celestial events, symbolic events that take place, and we are giving them language. We are translating them into words. So that we can ultimately, depending on the astrologer, we each have our own motivation for doing that as well. And so whatever you are as an astrologer, whatever you believe about the world, whatever you believe about God as well, about love, about the energy of creation. So some people call it God or love or creation or creator or whatever. I think of it ultimately as the energy of love and wisdom that we're all sort of more fully embodying over the course of our lives, and as a collective as well, we're more and more fully embodying this energy. Whatever you understand about that energy is going to determine how you view the sky. And so if you view life and the world and the sky as a place that is cruel and mean, then that's how you're going to interpret the symbols in the sky. I do think that ultimately, whoever you are as a person who utilizes astrology as part of your path, if you're not an astrologer, it is whoever you are that is going to determine what astrologers you're attracted to. So that's why oftentimes I like to talk to you guys about things like spiritual growth, emotional growth. I like to talk about things like raising consciousness as well, because that is who I am. That's part of my sacred lessons at this point, and all I can really share is myself and my interpretations. And so the fact that you are here right now says that on some level, that's also what you're interested in. You're also open to raising consciousness and taking greater responsibility for your life and your happiness, and doing what you can to move your life towards greater love and greater wisdom. And so when those moments happen, and I've had them happen too, I'm not just an astrologer, I'm also a client. And I mean, if you want to meet people who've had a lot of astrology readings, talk to astrologers. I mean, it's part of the fun of being an astrologer as well. But ever since I was a child, really, I've had these experiences of getting readings, and some people, they know how to communicate in a way that has left me feeling empowered, even if the news wasn't great. I've had readings where at the time I thought this person was off their rocker, didn't make any sense, but years later I realized how right they were, what they were trying to communicate to me. And I've also had readings where people have communicated in ways that really were not empowering to me at all. And I think that what it comes down to in those moments is really deciding who you are. Because even the foundational text to Western astrology, the foundational text to Western astrology is Tetrabiblos by Ptolemy. And in this text, he says that our family and our cultural environment is equally responsible for who we become as the planets. So right from the beginning, Western astrology, the foundational text to Western astrology, says that we participate in our lives and in our fate and in the unfolding of our lives as well. Ultimately, there are a lot of things that you can't control, that's true, but of the things that you can control, one of those is deciding how you are going to participate, and if you are going to believe that the universe is one that is kind, that is loving, that is wise, and one that wants you to experience greater love as well. And if you make that decision, that you know who you are, you trust your instincts, you trust your intuition, and always, above and beyond what anyone else tells you, any astrologer tells you, trust your instincts. If you decide that that's who you are and that's what you're going to strengthen, then that will be your reality. And based on whatever you decide is your reality will determine how you participate in the unfolding of your sky. If you get a reading that doesn't resonate with you, that doesn't empower you, then one way that you can empower yourself is to decide what you are going to emphasize, where it is that you are going to strengthen yourself and your path. And from that, and setting the clear intention that your life is about moving towards greater love, greater wisdom, and that includes happiness as well, you will certainly make it so. I so appreciate your interactions. Thank you so much, everybody out there, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube as well. Truly love interacting with you guys and love your questions. Please do keep them coming. If you have more personal questions where you want me to look at your chart, please consider a personalized horoscope. But again, my hope is that this video right now in some way provides you with an omen that you need to fill your life with hope and inspiration, and remind you, and I always say this because really It is my mission. It is my mission in the world to affirm that the universe is wise and loving, and everything I do as far as my work goes, everything I do is about affirming that in some small way in the universe. And I'm just so grateful that you are here, a part of that, and resonating with that as well. So how this very romantic sky this week, which is such a relief considering last week and all the heightened energies, but how this very romantic sky is going to speak to you and your sign is coming up right now. Hello, fabulous Aries. This week we have for you some really romantic energy playing out, but it's a very intense kind of energy. It's an energy that is intimate, is the best way to put it. And so there's a certain quietness to it. There's an intimacy to it. And it looks like ultimately you're going for what is real. Now, you may be one of those Aries out there that's getting a little swept away right about now, or you have the desire to be a little bit swept away. So if that's you, if you're feeling very caught up in a very romantic situation, I don't think there's any harm in it personally. This is Neptune after all. Neptune is not known for realizations that are necessarily stable or for really lasting situations. However, this is not about that. This is about inspiration. This is about enjoying your time. And what you want right now is interactions that have meaning, that feel really authentic, that feel really real, and that reach right into the core of you and that change you very deeply. And as a result, that is what you're going to pursue. Some really intense moments on offer for you, but also really romantic moments as well. If you are an artist, this is a time when you could just create a masterpiece. Absolutely. So if you are artistically inclined in any sense of the work, any sense of the word, get to creating, please. You will be so glad that you did. You could certainly ride a wave and write a song or create a picture, or however it is that your art, write a story, however it is that your art manifests itself, something that you're really proud of and that you feel expresses how much your art actually means to you. Hello, fabulous Taurus. This week we've got this very romantic energy in the sky, and it includes your ruling planet, with your ruling planet speaking in supreme harmony with Neptune, in harmony with Pluto as well. I look at the sky playing out for you, and it just suggests that you are feeling good. It suggests that you are feeling, especially in the company of others, in the company of friends. Venus right now is moving through your opposite sign, so that makes you more interested in love, and also likely to attract a little bit more easily, with a little bit more flow as well. So considering all that considered, it does look like a really great time for you to be either connecting with your partner on a very deep level, a social level though. There is an element here of you just wanting to have fun and be out with friends with the person you love. If you're open to love, this is a time when a friend could appear to be someone who could be a romantic partner to you. Now again, this is Neptune. Neptune's not always so big on reality, but it's not about that right now. It is about you enjoying your life, enjoying your desire to be loved, feeling very attractive as well, and enjoying the transformation that love and attraction and possibility can bring. Hello, fabulous Gemini. This week we have your ruling planet Mercury in its final of 3 precise conversations with Jupiter, as I spoke about in the introduction. This to me is so important for you, especially. We have got Mercury in a very romantic place in your chart. And you add to this the fact that, so you have this ongoing learning lessons where it comes to love. I've been speaking to you about this in the monthly horoscopes, September, October, and November as well. I spoke about this. I've been speaking about this with you in the weekly horoscopes as well. This is when a conversation really could set things right. So if you are one of those people who's been dating somebody, or getting to know somebody, this is a time when you have a conversation that really helps you see the situation differently, helps clear the air, set the record straight even, but in a way that really feels very empowering. Now, keep in mind, Neptune is really active this week. As I've been saying to just about every sign, Neptune is not about reality. Neptune is about the fantasy. So there may be an element, a little bit of an element here of you getting caught up in the more romantic energy, but I don't think that ever really did anybody any harm, in my humble opinion. As long as you're not doing anything that doesn't make you feel good about yourself, if you are doing things that make you feel good about yourself and you're feeling very romantic and very inspired, well, then go for it. Enjoy it, in my humble opinion. At the same time, though, this energy also has a certain intellectual bent to it as well. This energy also, for those of you who are not thinking so much in line of romance and things like that, this could be a really great conversation with a kid. Really, this is a conversation with a kid that helps you get really clear as to what it is that you want in love, what is it that's really going to matter, and a conversation that really helps you feel like confusion is cleared, that what it is that has been sort of in the ether, that you've been sort of, the questions that might have been there since September, it is a kid now, a child now, that could actually give you the answers, whether it's your child or someone else's. But make sure it's a child that you know. And again, in my humble opinion, it may end up being a more meaningful conversation that way to you as well. Hello, fabulous Cancer. This week we have this very romantic energy taking place, especially for you. We've got Venus in a part of the sky for you that has to do with love, with dating, and Venus is making these very passionate, very, very romantic sort of connections in the sky this week. And this just tells me that it is a fun week for you. It's a creative week for you, certainly. And if you are so inclined, it can also be a very romantic week for you as well. A week when you are making connections, especially where it comes to Pluto in your opposite sign, speaking in harmony with Venus in a part of the sky that has to do with romance for you. This is you really having a very memorable moment with a partner if you are in a partnership. If you're not in a partnership, you may just get carried away a little bit on a fantasy, and so you might as well enjoy it. If you're not thinking along those lines, you'd rather like sort of channel this energy towards your creativity. You really, again, you are one of those signs that really could create something amazing that you're really proud of. But even beyond just the art part of it, because there is like an artistic element to this, if you are one of those people who, like, you know, thinks about your self-actualization, thinks about your creative projects, the things that you want to work on, this is a great week for you to begin writing these things out, formulating your plan, figuring out what it is that you actually want to do. And so make sure you take a little bit of time, do a little brainstorming this week, because I think you'll find that you uncover some things that really bring a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of inspiration into your life. Hello, fabulous Leo. Well, you've got Jupiter in your sign, and it's the last of 3 conversations with Mercury. This is a conversation that's been taking place since the late part, or since September rather, and so this is the last of 3. Mercury's been dancing with Jupiter in your chart, and this, to me, as I look at this for you, I mean, this is the light coming on in some respects. Mercury is in a part of the sky that has to do with awareness, it has to do with communication, and it has to do with like the mental processes and your perceptions as well. With Jupiter in your sign, you're being asked to see things from a more positive angle and see how you doing that can really change your circumstances tremendously. This week can also bring sort of a random conversation with a neighbor that really changes everything. And to me, when I look at this, this may not necessarily be like, you know, it could be right place at the right time and meeting the right person, yes. But more likely it is meeting the person who points you in the right direction. And so I spoke about this in the intro, that understanding of this energy is heightened for you because Jupiter is in your sign. Mercury is in the part of the sky for you is not only the planet that has to do with communication, but it's in the part of the sky that has to do with communication, emphasizing that energy. This is certainly a time when you want to make sure that all your notifications are working on your smartphone, because this is a time when you could be just going about doing errands and a message comes through one of your social media networks or email, and you read it and it really makes all the difference, or it's just the most amazing advice that you ever got, and right there I just see you doing a little jig on the street of happiness, because now you feel really clear and you know what it is that you want to do, and you might even get some really good news as well. Hello, fabulous Virgo. Well, it is your ruling planet that is making its last of 3 conversations with Jupiter this week. And so we have got Jupiter in the sign just before yours, and I've spoken about this in the Jupiter special as well. This is about sort of resolving things on a level of energy. We have got Mercury right now moving through a part of the sky for you that has to do with your finances. And so just as it sounds, if there have been any sort of outstanding monies that's owed you, you should get that now, very likely. If there have been some sort of scheduling issues that you've been waiting for them to get all resolved, this is a good time for that. If there have been any payroll issues as well, that gets resolved under this type of conversation as well. Ultimately, though, this is also, there's an element here that has to do with, you know, I think about this idea of karma, how strongly karma, when Jupiter's in the sign just before yours, it has to do with karmic closures. And so that is possible now. However, we are working under the energy of last week's new moon solar eclipse. And so that's all about beginnings to me. So it does suggest change in finances, almost like you're understanding what you don't want to do anymore as part of welcoming in a new opportunity. And it's very likely that you're going to have some kind of key conversation now that helps you feel that you can actually continue to be valued, especially in terms of creating greater financial value for yourself. You add to this the fact that Neptune in your opposite sign is getting these very sweet connections this week. At the very least, your partner should be saying some really romantic things to you now. And the two of you seem to be making some really nice plans together as well that fill you with inspiration and with possibility as well, and help you believe in a dream. Nurture that dream. I'm all about dreams, and I do think that dreams, when you really have faith, have an amazing way of coming true in their own time. Hello, fabulous Libra. This week, your ruling planet, Venus, is going to be making some very sweet connections with Pluto and with Neptune. And what we have happening here is, what's really fascinating to me about this is that Venus is in a part of the sky that has to do with money you earn, speaking with Neptune that has to do with the workplace. And Neptune's currently in a part of the sky for you that has to do with the workplace. You add to this the fact that we are going to have Venus speaking with Pluto, and Pluto is in the part of the sky for you that has to do with home. So you put that together, and this might be a chance for you to make more money at home, right? Just connect the dots there. That's a very basic connecting the dots there. But really, that is a very strong possibility for you now. What is also possible for you now is you starting to appreciate the value of what you do and the value of what you really want to do. So there's an element here of inspiration, of possibility, maybe figuring out a way to do more of what you really want to earn money in your own time at home. And understanding how that ultimately could lead you to a stronger financial picture becomes on offer. I gotta say also, I'm gonna just put this out there, this can also speak to some flirtation or idea that you may have about a coworker. Neptune is involved in this week, so it might not be the most solid picture. So just be mindful of that. You may allow yourself to get carried away on a fantasy of a possibility that may not necessarily be grounded. If you're enjoying it, that's fine. However, just do keep in mind that you want to pace yourself. And as I said in the introduction as well, Next month, we are going to have, in the month of November, Venus in a different type of conversation with Neptune, and that can really be lights coming on. So just be mindful of that. Monitor, watch your attractions, and let that be part of your learning. And from there, you will understand what is the right action for you. But for all that, it does look like work is a very inspired environment, whether creatively or romantically as well. And it looks like you are wanting to keep things sort of under wraps, and it looks like that might be the best action plan for now. Hello, fabulous Scorpio. This week we have Venus moving through your sign, Sun moving through your sign, and this is about, this particular conversation, these two planets moving through your sign. It's romantic, that's for sure. And speaking with Neptune, very romantic, very romantic. And so whether you're in an established bond, or even if you're one of those people who really thinks that you don't want relationship, you don't have time for that right now, I think you're going to make time. I think there's likely to be at least some flirtation that awakens you to the possibility, that allows you to get carried away on a little bit of a dream. So if you're in an established bond, this could be you and your partner dreaming together about what could be possible for you in your future. If you're dating somebody, this is dating with enthusiasm. This is really enjoying their company and wanting to know them more, and getting a little swept away. If you don't have somebody right now, you are going to be open and will welcome, I do believe, I'm going to say this, I'll put it out there, you will welcome some flirtation that awakens you on some level, on a very nice level as well. So all in all, very romantic, very creative week as well. And so it's creative for all of us, but the signs where this energy really becomes emphasized, I am mentioning it because this really could be a time when you create something that you truly are very proud of, and that even changes you in the process of creation as well. I do think also, as I look at the sky for you, that romance is, yes, it has a transformative quality for you now, but I think that there's also an element here with Venus moving through your sign. If you are interested in just finding the most amazing Halloween costume right now that really allows you to embody an archetype, a different energy, this could be the week for you to find that perfect costume. Hello, fabulous Sagittarius. This week we have your ruling planet, Jupiter, speaking in harmony with Mercury as the last of 3 conversations that began in September. So Mercury and Jupiter dancing since September. Now the final conversation takes place. This to me is going to be so important for you because it does suggest a time when you are opening yourself up to a greater level of understanding as to your vision for the future. If you are a student or in some way engaged in an institution of higher learning, or even if you're in some way involved in a legal process, this could be a time when you get some very good news, reach an agreement that you really are very happy with and very happy about. This can also be a time when you might find yourself having a conversation that shifts one of your values or one of your beliefs as well. So if you're one of those people who consider yourself sort of a spiritual seeker, open to the spiritual path, this is definitely a time to engage other people in that, because you could just have the right conversation at the right time that makes all the difference, that really helps you understand your place and what you want and what you're doing much more expansively, much more lovingly as well. Like, what do you really believe? That becomes articulated in a new way for you, and in a way that feels very right and feels very empowering to you as well, and in a way that allows you to feel like you're able to now bring the best of you forward. Hello, fabulous Capricorn. This week we have some really romantic vibes taking place, and you're right in the middle of it. So in one of the recent weekly horoscopes, I spoke in the introduction about what's called a triangle of potential. So what we have happening is your sign is Capricorn. You are standing right in the middle of, harmoniously in the middle of, the planets that are happening in water signs, Scorpio and Pisces. And so effectively, these planets are having a supremely harmonious conversation. You're in the middle. You are creating your own personal triangle of potential here. So the sky, as romantic as it is, I do think that you are going to find a way to just summon some amazing talents and abilities, to develop those talents and abilities as well. I do think that this is going to be a week when connecting with friends is really going to help you to feel a sense of faith and to feel a sense of inspiration, to reconnect you with what matters to you most in a larger sense and the meaningfulness of what it is that you do. You've just had all this energy in the part of the sky that has to do with career. This should be a really nice shift for you. It's social, it's fun, and it's also really inspired as well. So there's an element of spirituality in this as well. And all in all, it looks like you can have some really amazing brainstorms, especially in the company of others. Some really amazing ideas could come forward as well that feel absolutely inspired, and just a belief, a strong belief that the universe is on your side to help move your life in a positive direction. That alone can help you see your life move ahead in leaps and bounds. Hello, fabulous Aquarius. This week we've got this buildup of energy happening in the part of the sky for you that has to do with your career and achievement. So we've got energy happening there. And this is all speaking to your finances as well. So you are one of those air signs that is having this attention paid to areas of work and money and career as well. And so I do think that this is going to be a time when you have some amazing ideas for what you could achieve, or find yourself sort of in alignment with an almost miraculous kudo, almost miraculous success. If you are involved in any way in film or digital video or modeling or photography, anything that involves sort of glamour or the illusion of, you know, that you can create on film and through the digital world, this could be a time when you have some amazing ideas and feel incredibly inspired in terms of your artwork as well, in terms of your chosen profession as well. So you do really want to pay attention. Those parts of those industries are really going to be very positively affirmed right now, individually and collectively as well. We should notice some news along those fronts as well. I do think also, as I look at the sky for you, that with Jupiter in this final conversation with Mercury, it does look like if you've been sort of having a long-standing discussion with a partner, this could be a really good time for you to sort of feel like the things that you've been talking about, you got the answers that you wanted. And so keep those conversations flowing, whether it's a business partner or a romantic partner. Keep that flow of conversation going, and you will find that things sort of have an easy way of coming together for you, a lovely way of coming together for you, especially where it comes to matters that you've been talking about with a spouse since September. That can really, or not just a spouse, a business partner as well. You could find a lot of things sort of solidifying, the partnership solidifying as well in ways that please you very much. Hello, fabulous Pisces. Well, you've got Neptune in your sign, really strong position with these wonderful, wonderful conversations with Venus and with Sun as well, the Sun as well. What a romantic week for you, a tremendously romantic week for you. And it reaches right to the heart of you as well. There's an element here that is very inspired. So the romance might actually be a little elevated for you, whereas other people may, and you might as well, experience this in the context of romantic love. You may actually elevate it to celestial Aphrodite, to sort of a larger sort of love, a sense of mission, a sense of purpose, a sense of understanding your personal truth and how that brings magic and miracles into your life. And if there's any sign that may experience miracles right about now because of what you believe, it certainly could be you. And so look at those beliefs and look at what it is that you actually do believe about yourself and about the world as well. Because with just a little bit of tweaking, an understanding that the energy you're aligning yourself with based on what you believe can actually adjust things very rapidly in your life, I think you're going to find yourself able to make some huge changes, leaps forward, simply based on faith. And I know that it can sound very lofty and very idealistic, But really, if there ever was a time that faith could turn everything around, this is it. And you are also one of those, the water signs out there this week, supremely creative. This is a time to hit your art with love and with an open heart, and you will find yourself creating something that you truly find meaningful for you and has a certain energy to it that attracts a lot of supporters as well. Thank you so much to all signs out there. It'll be a great week. Enjoy, and happy Halloween as well.